Hello everyone, it's Jen from Old Tinkerer Studio. In this tutorial, we will be learning how to make a simple character's face rig in Inkscape and then animate it in Blender 2.9. The download link for Inkscape is in the description. So let's get on with the tutorial. I'll be showing you how to make a very simple character's face rig in Inkscape. We will then export the image as an SVG and import it into Blender. We will then use Blender to animate the face. We will first set up the document. If you don't see the top row of icons, go under View and choose Default. Make sure you have snapping enabled. Then go under View, Zoom, Zoom 1:1. Holding down Control and scrolling the middle mouse button will allow you to zoom in and out. Holding down the middle mouse button allows you to pan. Under the File menu, open up the Document Properties window. Change the display units to pixels. Then under the Custom Size section, change the units to pixels. Change the width to 1920 and the height to 1080. Then use the rectangle tool and make a background for the character. Then fill the background with a color. Rename your layer and lock it. Add a new layer and give it a name. This is going to be our head. Now choose a flesh color and draw out a rectangle using the rectangle tool. Now mine is rounded because that's what I had used last time. Yours is going to probably look like an actual rectangle. Use the node tool. Hold down your left mouse button and pull down on the corner node to round out the corner of the face. Then lock your layer. Now add a new layer and give it a name. This is going to be our face. Then using the rectangle tool, choose a color and make an eye. Please note, Inkscape should remember the last rectangle settings, so the rectangle should already be rounded. Duplicate the eye and move it to the other side of the head. Now using the rectangle tool, choose a color and make a nose. Then using the ellipse tool, choose a color and make a mouth. Now add a rectangle that covers the top half of the mouth. Then select both the ellipse and the rectangle using your Shift key. Under the Path menu, choose Difference to make the mouth. Duplicate the mouth. Then rotate the mouth 180 degrees using the Rotate option under the Object menu. Then align the duplicate to the bottom part of the mouth, and this will become our tongue. And choose both paths using the Shift key. Under the Path menu, choose Division to make the tongue, and then change the color. Now use the Ellipse tool to add a couple tufts of hair to the front of the head. And change the color. And then lock your layer. Add a new layer and give it a name. This is going to be the back of the hair, the ears, and the neck. We'll start with the hair. Using the Ellipse tool, create a circle at the top center of the head. Go ahead and hide the face. This will make it easier to make the back of the hair. Under the Path menu, choose Path Effects. Click on the plus button in the Path Effects menu and search for Rotate Copies. Go ahead and choose it. Using your node tool, select the left side of the handle and move it toward the center of the head. Then increase the number of copies to your liking. Then deselect the copies. Using the Ellipse tool, fill the center of the hair. Select both paths, and under the Path menu, choose Union. Now move the layer below the head layer. Next, we'll make the ear. Using the Ellipse tool, draw out the shape of the ear. Then using the eyedropper tool, make the ear the same color as the head. Copy the ear shape, then center it over the original ear shape. Scale the inner ear shape down. And make it a darker color. Then scale the ear and align it to the side of the head. Duplicate the ear and align it to the other side of the head. Now we'll make the neck. Using the rectangle tool, draw out a neck. Using the eyedropper tool, make the neck the same color as the head. Then using the nodes tool, slightly round out the neck. Then align the neck to the bottom center of the head. Make a copy of the neck and paste it on top of the original neck. And scale the copy so it only covers the top portion of the neck. And this will become our shadow. Then make the shadow a darker color. Now under the File menu, choose Save As, and save the file as an SVG. Let's now import the saved SVG file into Blender. Before importing your SVG, make sure you have the Import/Export Scalable Vector Graphics Format add-on activated in your preferences. Now in Blender, delete the default cube and go into top view with 7 on your numpad. Under the File menu, choose Import Scalable Vector Graphics and import your graphic. And make sure your entire graphic is selected and scale it up. And make sure everything is selected. Right-click on your SGV and choose Convert to Mesh. Then tab into Edit mode and make sure that the entire SVG has been converted. Now we need to rename the curves and paths in the outliner. We'll tab back into object mode. Select the background and move it to its own collection with M. Select the back of the hair, the ears, the neck and its shadow, and move them to their own collection. Select the head, and move it to its own collection. And rename the remaining collection. Then drag the background collection to the bottom of the stack. And make sure that the head is above the ears. Now let's add a lighting setup. Select the point light, and under the Light tab, change the light to an area light. Use Alt-R to cancel any rotation, and place the light in the center of the face. Change your power as desired, then change mine to 500, and then scale the light so it covers most of the background. Now we need to set up the face rig for animation. Under the Animation workspace, open up the Properties panel with N. Under the View tab, choose Lock Camera to View. Select the light and all of the face rig elements. And center them in the 3D viewport. Now select the camera. Use Alt-G to center the camera in the scene, and then Alt-R to clear any rotation. Then move the camera along the Z and Y axes as needed to center the face rig in the camera view. Now we need to separate the collections. Select the background and move it down along the z-axis. And select all the objects under the ear collection. And move them down along the z-axis. Select the neck shadow and move it up along the z-axis so it appears on top of the neck. And select the inner and outer parts of the ears and move them up along the z-axis so they appear on top of the hair. Then select the inner parts of the ears and move them up along the z-axis so they appear on top of the outer part of the ears. Select the head and move it down along the z-axis. Select all of the face objects and join them using Ctrl-J. Under the Object menu and the Set Origin options, choose Origin to Geometry. Select the head object. Under the Object menu, Set Origin options, choose Origin to Geometry. Select all of the other objects and join them together using Ctrl-J. Under the Object menus, Set Origin, choose Origin to Geometry, and select the background object. Under Object menu, Set Origin, Origin to Geometry. Now we're ready to create a simple face animation. Select all of the objects except for the background and add a location and rotation keyframe on frame 1 with your I key. Move to frame 20. Select the face objects and move them along the x-axis to your character's right, which is your left. Add a location and rotation keyframe. Select the ears objects and move them along the x-axis to your character's left, which is your right. And add a location and rotation keyframe. Move to frame 40. Select the face objects and move them along the x-axis to your character's left, your right. Add a location and rotation keyframe. Select the ears objects and move them along the x-axis to your character's left, your right. And add a location and rotation keyframe. Move to frame 60. Select your face objects and move them along the x-axis to the center of the head. Then move the face objects up along the y-axis toward the top of the head. Add a location and rotation keyframe. Select the ears objects and move them along the x-axis to the center of the head. Then move the ear objects down along the y-axis toward the bottom of the head. Add a location and rotation keyframe. Move to frame 80. Move the face objects down along the y-axis toward the bottom of the head. Add a location and rotation keyframe. Move the ear objects up along the y-axis toward the top of the head. And add a location and rotation keyframe. Change your end frame to 80 and play the animation. To render the animation, under your Output Properties tab, make sure the start and end frames match the animation timeline. Under the Output section, choose where you want the animation to be rendered. Choose a file format. Since this is a short animation, I'll be using the FFmpeg video format with an MP4 for the encoder. Save your Blender file. Then under the Render menu, choose Render Animation. If you have a request for a tutorial or a question about Blender, feel free to leave a comment. If you're interested in learning more about 3D art and animation, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell.